I'm Dan.
And I'm Alex, and welcome back to On Air.
I have to say, it feels very weird to say this when we're sitting face to face.
I know. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it. I'm hoping that it gets better over the course of the episode. Yeah. And just, guys, as a hint, for those that haven't yet seen, or maybe you're not consuming this via YouTube, we are for the first time in vision. So you can actually see us speaking to you now because Dan decided to ambush me again and rocked up to Doha this morning. So marhaba, welcome to Qatar.
It feels appropriate that we are in vision for the first time.
Yeah.
The very first time that someone can actually see us in full screen all around them on the Vision Pro.
Yeah, so the Apple Vision Pro, which we wanted to speak about and we said we'll save for this time. So if you have a Vision Pro and you're listening to this and you're able to watch us on the Vision Pro, can they do a screen recording on a Vision Pro? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Must be, because that's how we've seen the stuff. Then that will be cool to see. But yeah, look, you're in Qatar. We said we have to somehow appear for the first time in vision because we couldn't just stick to the routine of, catch up from your hotel room, Dan. We'll speak remotely. So
And it's especially strange because we've learned to do the podcast a certain way. Yeah. And now it's like retraining us because now it feels like we're talking to a human.
True. I know. Yeah. I mean, well, this is it. But we're hoping, of course, I mean, this was always the intention, isn't it? Is that whenever or wherever we can be in the same place at the same time, we'll try and do it in vision. So stick with us, guys. We're a little bit in experiment mode, I think. Yeah. But we're going to roll with it and we'll see how we go.
Exactly. We just wanted to take this chance to do a video.
Of course.
And, I was telling you, I flew in this morning from Dubai and you guys had crazy storms here last night, right?
Yeah, it was very late, but it wasn't long. I mean, I heard there was one massive kind of clap of thunder that shook all of the glass. Yeah. And I thought, oh God, here we go. Because you know what it's like in this region. When it does storm, it can storm. But, I mean, it wasn't anything that I then noticed. I continued to fall asleep, so I don't think it was so bad.
That's crazy because we woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and the building was shaking and we had blackout curtains. But I noticed how it was like someone was taking a photo in the bedroom while I was sleeping because it got so bright. And it was literally going, underneath and above the curtain. So then we were going to get up at 6, but we didn't sleep much because it was just lightning. So then I'm like, oh, great. And I know in this region, when there's bad weather, air traffic does not do well.
Well, it's not just air traffic, is it? It's like everything. Because there's no real, when they're constructing these cities, there's no real attention to the fact that it might rain, once or twice a year and things like that. So sometimes then when it does, I mean, the roads fill up immediately with flooding. Air traffic can be a little bit, it's more akin to the impact of a severe winter storm in the US, for example.
Exactly. And I remember the first time we were in the Gulf when it was raining and we wanted to order food on Kareem.
Oh God.
And there's like a pop-up that goes, because it's raining, for the safety of our drivers, we've suspended all operations. And we look outside and we're like, this is every day in Gothenburg. This is just normal. And now
but on Gothenburg, you're not really ordering on those applications.
Oh, there's nothing.
They don't exist. Exactly. It's funny because the last time there was extreme weather here that lasted more than just an hour and was a few days. Yeah. This was in like October or something. Yeah. I can remember going to order again something because this is how it is. It's very instant, isn't it? In terms of everything is at anyone's disposal within 30 minutes in terms of a delivery. And I remember the weather was so bad. I was going to press order and I was like, I don't want to risk this guy's life like this. Yeah, nice. I don't need it that much. I can wait till tomorrow. So I didn't.
So it wasn't just a drizzle. It was...
No, it was. I mean, I wouldn't have gone out and had bought what I wanted. So I thought not fair to make the guy who's going to bring it go through that for something that I definitely could have waited for. So that's what I did do.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. One time in 2022, Oscar and I had COVID and we were quarantining in a hotel in Gothenburg. And there's like one of the nicer Swedish chains, although it's not, I wouldn't say it's anything fancy.
What's the name?
Clarion. It's a part of, what's it called? Choice Hotels, basically.
Sounds like an allergy tablet.
Right. It kind of does. So there's 2 Clarions in Gothenburg, which is like, oh my gosh. You go to a city and there's like multiple Hiltons or Marriotts,
Yeah.
for example. So we ordered a lot of takeout food because we were staying in the middle of the city, and we're like, it's not that hard to find. But literally, the drivers didn't understand the concept that there can be more than one hotel with the same brand name in a city. So they kept going to the most famous one. And then we had to explain, no, there's a different one. What do you mean? We're at Clarion Hotel. No, there are two Clarion hotels. So yeah, anyway,
that's
rain.
But wait, before, in Asia, they're quite big on the business card, aren't they? The business card of the property that you're staying at in order for you to go around. And I don't ever come across that in Europe.
No.
But I always find in Asia, especially in China, the moment you're leaving, they're like, wait, sir, don't leave without this, so that you're able to, because I guess it's got it on English on one side, Mandarin on the other side, and then they're able to. I like that. These are practical things.
Because think okay, you're in France.
Yeah.
And even in Paris, there's so many. It's hard to navigate if you're not from there,
Yeah.
Okay, if you have Google Maps, it's one thing, but for some people, it could be very helpful to be like, this is where I'm staying.
Especially if you come across either the Parisians or the French, where you tu parles l'anglais, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
And we know they do. Yeah. But also we can't expect it. We have to. Oh, I know you're like me. We always try to make an effort with especially the please and thank yous and so on. I'm not talking about in French. French is the language that I did study, but
you studied French?
I did.
I did too. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So episode 23 will be in French.
Fluent in French. Yes.
Oui, so Air France. Okay.
Air France, ah la la.
Air France, oh la la. Okay.
That's like I told you before. The small little airline of the subsidiary of Air France.
Hop.
Up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's also a store, isn't there?
Yeah, you said Allez Up.
Allez Up. Yeah. And I remember I was standing with all the Airbus staff, and they were watching this little ATR depart the Airbus facility, and they were all like, "Oh, Allez Up, Allez Up, Allez." And I was like, "Is this the actual airline name or something? Or why are they all saying let's hop?" And but they link it with the store name.
Yeah.
And then it's like an expression of let's hop.
I know.
Yeah.
So this makes me think of I'll skip to the flight, because do you think it's, I don't want to say rude, but I want to ask what you think about someone who doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
Just boarding a flight and just rambling to the crew in their home language, trying to make some requests. So on today's flight, there were so many Russian speakers,
right,
just talking in Russian to the crew, and they were like, "We don't speak Russian."
And of course, you're flying from Abu Dhabi to Doha.
Yeah, so there's nothing to do with Russia.
No, I just think you can't do that. I mean, there's two sides, isn't there? At least when it comes to English. English is the international language.
Yeah.
That is widely accepted everywhere. At the same time, I would never expect, for example, if I'm on a domestic flight in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I was on a domestic flight. It's been a while. Yeah, I have. I did Chiang Mai.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of the LA of Thailand.
The Beverly Hills of Thailand.
Alternative.
So where I know that, for example, on-board announcements would be in Thai and then English.
Yeah.
I think I would start by any interaction with, do you speak English? Can we? I know that they're probably going to speak English.
Yeah.
So I just think.
Thailand.
So to answer your question, no, I don't think you can that would be like me expecting them to be absolutely fluent in Greek on an intra-Gulf flight from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, to Doha. It's,
That's what I feel like. I feel like it's tough as mother tongue English speakers to say that, to be like, no, you can't just board a flight and speak Russian and expect the crew to understand.
Yeah.
But we also don't know that feeling, because we're lucky to have English.
And that's why I think
language.
it's always that is like a privilege and something to be aware of and not to abuse. Yeah. That's what I hate. For example, we've spoken before about airport staff. I find it absolutely unacceptable when you've got security personnel thinking, oh, you don't understand English? Let me just shout at you instead then in the same language and screaming about your liquids. And London Stansted Airport, I'm talking about you. God, I haven't been there in years, but that's not a problem. I hate that expectation. If you're in an international place, you have to be open to the prospect of foreign languages. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to learn it. Yeah.
You need to be understanding and try your best to communicate.
Yeah.
Because you notice they don't speak English, but also I feel like it's kind of to me, I can't even fathom the idea that I would get on a flight and speak Swedish.
Well, exactly.
And just expect someone to understand, because, you know, I don't speak English. So anyway.
Would you speak Swedish in IKEA?
What, in a country besides Sweden?
Yeah.
There's never any Swedish.
I feel like everything's written in Swedish.
Yeah, but
hedge, hemnis, haka, it's like all these
but it's
funny
not like
things.
The people working there understand what it says.
What is hello in Swedish?
Hey.
H-E-J. Yeah. So it's J-Y. Like pronounced as a y.
It sounds like hey. Just like when you say hey in English, that's hello in Swedish.
No, but that's hello. But what is J?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
Like my little brother's name is Jacob. Yeah. So he's Jakob.
Jakob.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Now I'm like, that sounds Russian. Because the P on
Maybe
Jakob.
They were not Russian speakers on your flight. Maybe they were Swedes. You just didn't notice.
They were from Gothenburg.
They were from Gothenburg. You haven't been home in a while. That's what they speak like these days. Yeah. That's funny about the J thing, because of course in Spanish, J is H. Pronounced H, yeah.
Every time someone says J-A-J-A-J-A, I'm thrown off. I know it's laughing.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this just is not
One of my friends here, his family name is Hajaji. But in Spain, that literally looks like ha-ha-ha-fi. And I always remind him of this. Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, let's get back to aviation.
Yes.
because we're together, we need to stick to the topic.
This is still the podcast.
Yes. So at 5 a.m., I get up and I'm thinking, because of the thunder, I'm thinking, will our flight even be leaving? Will I be abandoning Alex after making you change your plans to see us?
You say it as if you gave me like weeks notice. You ambushed me again.
2 days notice this
48
time.
hours.
Yeah.
Of which you said I might. And then I said like, okay, let me know. And then you messaged me yesterday like, I booked. Yeah. I arrive at this time. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Clear my day. It's a
like
Monday.
1 hour.
Last time it was an hour.
Yeah. So, especially at DXB, since it's so busy and it's only 2 runways, the holding is just chaotic when there's bad weather. And, I always tell people, if there's anywhere you should transit and you'll be good, weather won't be a problem, it's the Gulf.
Right.
So then I go on Flight Radar and I see there's like 15 A380s that have been circling for, 30 minutes to an hour. Nothing is landing, or it's landing super sparsely. And then like by, Musandam in Oman, like the northern part, that's like the Fly Dubai hub. There's like 10 Fly Dubai 737 circling.
Yeah.
So then I go down to Abu Dhabi, which is where we're flying for. I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. And then, oh my God, there was one Etihad flight from Pakistan, I think, or from Jeddah, either of those, an A321, that had been circling for an hour and a half. And just like the picture was insane. There was no consistent pattern. It was just like drawing squiggles all over the Etihad. Yeah. So that one diverted to Al Ain, and I saw my plane was just circling. I was like, okay, this is not going to be good. We get up. We managed.
So you knew your aircraft was already...
Because it
had been assigned.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you were able to determine that registration will be operating your next flight.
Yes.
And so arriving from where?
Amsterdam. So it was an overnight flight.
Oh, of course, because it was a long-haul aircraft.
Yeah.
But in those scenarios, I mean, it could just change within a second because of something like weather.
Exactly. So I was thinking, hopefully it does, because it's getting delayed to land.
So you're not reliant on,
Yeah. So basically, we're just like, okay, there's no choice, because Etihad wasn't delaying the flight.
Okay.
Which, that's such a pet peeve for me, when airlines know that they're going to have many delayed flights, but they don't officially delay it.
Yeah.
So you still have to show up to the airport at a certain time. It's just like...
The worst ones, I mean, in Europe, many of the carriers do tell you you're going to be delayed, but then there's a little note underneath that says check-in still closes at the same time. Yeah. I'm like, thanks for that. So you told me I'm leaving 7 hours late, but my check-in is as if that happened with Lufthansa once in Toulouse.
Yeah, that's not good. This was such a short flight, but it feels like I should be able to do mobile check-in, right? I couldn't. So we get in a taxi, and the weather was insane. Like, we couldn't see anything in front of us, around us.
Oh boy.
As he's going up on the highway, he's driving at like 60 kilometers an hour. And it turns out the road is just covered in water, but it's so dark that he can't see. So we're just like suddenly in this pond and water is flying in all directions. And I'm just like, okay, sacrificing everything to get to Doha to see
I didn't know anything about this. Yeah, and had you have sent me a text saying, of course I was sleeping. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. But had you have sent a text saying, because of the weather, I would have realized. See, it's funny. By the time I woke up here, I woke up this morning around 6:57.
Yeah.
It was clear sky. So whatever happened here during the night was in a very limited way. But I think maybe dropped a little harder.
It dropped on the UAE. Yeah. So we got to the airport 20 minutes margin. So not great. But by some miracle, our flight was not delayed. There was no sign that there were any problems at the airport. So we were good. I'm making a review of the Etihad flight. It was interesting. But the real treat was getting to fly a 787-10 from Abu Dhabi to Doha.
Such a rare breed.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So rare here. And
that.
The green liner
livery, which of course they got they were hit with, weren't they?
We've spoken about it in 2 episodes.
We did speak about it, because they were greenwashing.
Yeah.
So you flew here in a greenwashing livery.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot of problems with the sustainability of that flight.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was like half full, but they told me the return was overbooked. So that's where they put it. And it was funny because the crew said even they were shocked when when it was originally scheduled, it was an A320. And then they're like, what? A 787?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was great. We got here and now we're sitting face to face.
Yeah. All right. Don't make it weird. Anyway. Well, look, I'm glad that you managed to get here in one piece safely. Yeah. I didn't know that I was putting you through the elements because it was your idea to come. So this is wholly on you. But I'm glad that we had the opportunity to. Also, the timing of it is great because this is typically the day that we record the podcast on. And we know that it's going to be in multiple different feeds as usual. But of course, on YouTube, it's going to be there in vision. So this will be the first time. And hopefully we can be doing more of this in the studio whenever our schedules align with being in the same destination.
Exactly. So unfortunately, we're never going to have a fully video podcast, which I wish.
I know.
But we just don't want
unless we make a commitment to choose a city and we both meet there every week.
What do you think? Tehran?
No, I was thinking slightly more LA.
Okay. So you'll do the 16-hour flight to LA and back every week.
That would be a commute, wouldn't it? I mean, I wouldn't mind it. The 1 a.m. departure from here, we spoke about it earlier. You sleep all night, you wake up, you have breakfast, bam, you're in La La Land.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Actually.
Maybe that governor / senator. No, the governor. Who's the governor of California? Gavin Newsom. He might be the Democrat nominee. I'm listening to all podcasts that indicate that there are still many that are completely in tune with what's going on in the US, and they still think that neither Biden nor Trump will be on the ticket. They think it will be someone else on the Democrat side versus someone else on the Republican side. Maybe Nikki Haley, maybe not, because she was just beaten in the Nevada caucus by anyone else. So it was like it wasn't a candidate.
Yeah.
She was beaten by nobody.
That's embarrassing.
I always try to look at what the aviation impact will be on the outcome of these elections.
Yeah.
And because it's directly tied in so many areas. I mean, Biden did pass an infrastructure bill that was bipartisan, meaning it involved both the Republicans and the Dems, and it does have a whole allocation to upgrading US airports.
Yeah.
I hate the way they talk about bridges so much, though. It's in every presidential speech.
I feel like, okay, again, have you seen Parks and Recreation?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
Seen it. You don't even know what it is. It's like The Office?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a similar type of...
so a bit like Veep as well.
No. So Veep is okay, it's complicated, but the listeners will know if they've seen it. It's basically just another US politics thing, but it's shot in the style of The Office. I don't know. That makes me think of bridges. But another great thing his government has done is they've basically implemented things making it more difficult for US airlines to get out of compensation.
Well, that's Pete Buttigieg, isn't it? That's the transport secretary. He's the guy that I met in ICAO Montreal.
Your bestie.
And we spoke about how he said he's going to hold airlines accountable and get them. And the consensus of that, regardless to your politics, as a traveler in the US today, are you better protected when it comes to delays and cancellations?
100%.
Absolutely.
My concern, going back to what I mentioned last week, is that there could be such wide-reaching implications on global aviation based on the next election. Even now, Russian airspace being closed is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Ukrainian airspace being closed is a huge deal. Not being able to fly over, some airlines aren't flying over Iran. So there's all these different things that
I've always highlighted how aviation is so inherently exposed to these kind of political decisions in geopolitics, and we have discussed it at length. But I think this time is going to be particularly interesting because nobody quite knows. You started sending me things about how Michelle Obama was going to be on the ticket as a Democrat.
Maybe Taylor Swift is going to be. Maybe the deep state is planting Taylor Swift because she's a inside CIA agent.
I wasn't sure if they had Fox News where you've been over the last few weeks, but now you've just confirmed it. Let's speak about the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl happened. Taylor Swift was somehow, and way before the Super Bowl even occurred, the final, was the star because of the fact that she's dating the player.
Yes.
What's his name?
Travis Kelce.
Right. Yeah. And the focus was on if she was going through the magic of aviation to be able to make it from Tokyo to Vegas. And of course, we know in aviation, absolutely possible.
Yeah.
The rest of the world kind of surprised, will she make it? Plenty of time. She didn't even go straight to Vegas. She went to LA.
Yeah.
So she had a night
just
in
like
her...
you would do.
Exactly what I would do. I read it said Taylor Swift landed in LA, and obviously I also quickly tracked her flight for a minute. Just see how it's going. Yeah. I was thinking it justified in order to have a night in her own bed and to repack, and I was like, that's absolutely something I would do.
So civilized.
That's so civilized.
I thought it was interesting. She took VistaJet. She didn't take her own private jet.
Yeah. So she took VistaJet, which is something that she never really does because, of course, this is how she's able to be slammed for her emissions. Now, this is the debate that has been everywhere, which is that is it appropriate that Jack Sweeney, this guy who has now become famous, this young college guy who's tracking her aircraft everywhere, is it appropriate or is it stalking that he is publicly showing where this aircraft is going using publicly available information?
Yeah.
And at the same time, calculating her emissions. What do you think?
Well, we spoke about it last week. It's fine. I think that people should be held, at least it should be common knowledge if you're polluting a lot.
Right.
I heard so many Swifties saying, oh no, she's polluting much less than other people.
Right.
That's fine.
She's she's not taxpayer funded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't hold her to account as a government leader or someone that's, and also as far as I know, she has never specifically championed climate causes, right? No. So then you can't really accuse her of being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
The bit now that we can speak about now the Super Bowl has finished, and actually we need to watch the halftime show because
we're going to do that when this is over.
Yeah, I need to see Usher. But the interesting part is that she flew VistaJet, which is basically, for listeners that don't know, it's like a luxury Uber of the skies. You're able to book them, and they facilitate their aircraft being wherever you need them based on usually the nearest available jets. Did you know that a backup aircraft had flown as well, just in case her aircraft went tech?
So she booked two, I guess.
So
she must
two flew at the same time. Yeah, the second one departed shortly after.
But in case she needed to divert in the Pacific,
needed maintenance.
They would have
it was in case she needed maintenance. Also, VistaJet do not have a maintenance facility in Tokyo. So they brought a backup aircraft that they literally nicknamed on Flight Radar the backup something. And these two aircraft had flown to the US. Of course, on completion of an uneventful, successful flight, Taylor Swift's aircraft goes to LA because it can't apparently get into Vegas because all the slots have been allocated because of the Super Bowl.
That's why she didn't do it just because she wanted to go home.
Supposedly, that's what it could be, just because she wanted to go home. We'll invite her onto the podcast next week to explain. But the other aircraft continued back to another base, so it didn't continue. So I mean, it's double the emissions.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if she made some sort of deal that it's like, also how much promo does VistaJet get because of this? Like,
well, also there's no way we would have known that Taylor Swift was on that aircraft had it not have been cleared with VistaJet. Let's just be clear. These aircraft are flying VVIPs globally every single day. This is why these companies exist. We have no idea who is on board. The fact that the world knew and VistaJet were confirming that Miss Swift was on this aircraft means it was done with her permission.
Yeah.
There's no other conclusion there.
The thing I find funny, I feel like I meet VistaJet flight attendants all the time, like in line for check-in, because I think they're flying a lot in Europe, especially like positioning to different places. So if you're in an intra-European business line, many times if there's someone young there and you ask them like, what do you they're traveling for business. Oh, what do you do? I'm a flight attendant.
I don't ask.
Yeah. You just go.
My AirPods are in. I'm not making eye contact.
Nice to talk to strangers. Sometimes.
Not in there. Not always. Yeah. No, it's fine.
I have to say, I wonder if you know that meme. Oh girl. Wait, no. How does it go? Oh girl, the ghetto. You know that one?
No.
Okay, listener. See. Thank goodness we have listeners who understand what I'm saying. I feel like that's what Taylor Swift
You're more millennial than me.
Yeah. Millennial? Gen Z.
Well, that's millennial cuts off at 97.
Yeah.
So maybe it cuts off at the end of March.
Yeah.
So I'm millennial and yours Gen Z.
Exactly. That's why I know the memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that's what that phrase, oh girl, the ghetto, is how Taylor Swift felt boarding VistaJet.
Maybe.
Or she was
VistaJet is great.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But I was actually... for the first time ever, because of that, I thought about what does it actually mean to have your own private jet? Like all your stuff is like your blanket, whatever you want. Like,
well, it just becomes an extension of your apartment, your home, your whatever.
How insane is that?
The more insane part is the way in which you rock up whenever you rock up, and there's no security and there's no queuing, and you just the few times I think I've flown private about less than 10 times, let's say.
Relatable.
And most of the time in a work capacity.
Yeah.
And it's always that bit, I think, that would strike me every time, which is like, wow, we're really going when our car pulls up. Yeah.
Well, I've never flown private, so...
Not even once.
Not even a little private.
not even something... a little bit private.
Yeah, just like normal people.
Oh, you had that Saudia flight last month that was half empty.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's because
I think that was something.
I love how people are like, once I flew premium economy, that was great. And I'm like, I have never flown private. Not even once.
No, I'm just surprised in your capacity as a YouTuber that, for example, there isn't a big company that's wanted to collaborate. That's what I mean. I know that we're not sitting here like, oh, we book private.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We are commercial kids.
Yeah. Commercial business.
Commercial with fast track.
Yeah.
And 1A, inshallah.
Yeah. Although, I did fly economy here. I'm flying economy
as you should. It was a 30-minute flight.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do that.
Sure.
Stop it. Oh my God, are you serious?
I know you do.
3 weeks ago.
Where?
To Heathrow with BA operated by Finnair.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Man of the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate this image you're trying to portray of me.
I know. Yeah. It's a very honest image. So, okay. The news this week. The one thing, I feel like it hasn't been that much in the news this week.
It hasn't. We just noticed it.
Yeah. Wait, what are you thinking?
I'm talking about the Vision Pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Because the first few days, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And
do you know people that have got them? That have got it?
Not a soul.
Not a person. Okay, I know 2 people.
Okay, the people you fly private jets with.
No, they were using it commercially.
Okay.
Don't come at me or my friends. Go on.
So, now I'm scared. I'm in Qatar, very vulnerable situation. Anyway.
One phone call.
Right.
I don't know what the phone call's about.
Sorry, can I have one medium pizza without pepperoni?
And make it not vegan.
Yeah.
I've got a vegan
That's what
list.
he'll do to get revenge on me. Yeah.
Oh, this is vegan cheese, Dan.
And then I'll get horrible stomach problems. So anyway, don't you feel like it's so dystopian? Like, in public, it feels so dystopian.
It looks a bit Black Mirror, doesn't it?
Not a bit.
It looks very Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Okay. I love what I have seen in terms of the screen recordings that I've seen.
Yeah.
Where they're like this, right? And I saw someone in like a Delta cabin and he's got his emails there, his Netflix series here. He has open tabs of iMessages there. And he's like looking around. He can still see every passenger in the cabin.
Yeah.
He can still, remain part and in tune with his surroundings and society.
Yeah.
But when I then saw a video of him and he sat in this middle seat like this with these big goggles on and doing this, and I was like, I'm not being that guy.
No.
So I don't know how I feel about it, is my honest answer.
I feel like actually the one place it would be acceptable is on a plane, because it's like escapism. You want to feel like you're not on a crowded, busy plane. You can put up like...
When do they come out? Here, for example.
I have no idea when they're coming out in... I don't know where they're out besides the US.
Maybe it is out here.
Yeah, I really think it's a very slow launch.
I can imagine, like, I get comfortable like this, I pop them on, and I watch a movie.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to be doing this.
No, typing. Wait, they go like this?
Yeah. I'm going to be like that, right? And then I'm like, doesn't that already exist?
Yeah.
Hasn't it existed for about 10 years?
I think
in terms of like classic VR.
Yeah.
But I think VR gives me motion sickness.
And it just feels like, why are you wearing a big, heavy headset?
I know.
Where you can just watch it on the IFE.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a good point, because, like, for example, Q Suite has HDMI. Yeah. So you can already plug your laptop into the screen. Have you tried it,
though? No, it doesn't mirror your laptop.
Oh, what is it for?
I can't remember how you can activate it, but it doesn't mirror the laptop, because like that, for example, you could plug it in and play Netflix.
Yeah.
But you can't.
So what is the
I can't remember.
There's so many airplane seats where I'm like, also the NFC thing.
Yeah, has anyone ever used any NFC on any? Do you know there are, which seats did I just
some brand
have a
new
meeting
seats.
with? Some brand new seats.
Yeah, because I just flew, what was it? I just flew some brand new plane. I flew a brand new plane a couple of weeks ago.
Me too.
And it had NFC, and I was like...
Me too, and I was like, I can't believe they made that decision.
Yeah.
I've never... Let the listeners get in touch with us, see if they can honestly say that they're... Well, I know some, for example, like JetBlue, right? You order your food, don't you, on the screen?
You can.
So you can tap to pay.
But actually, no. On JetBlue, you swipe your card. Under the IFE, there's like a swipe thing. You just go on their old seats. I don't know how it is.
Well, I kind of get it in the US with the US culture, but in terms of shopping and things like that. Yeah. But I don't understand when I'm on an intra-European flight why there isn't NFC. Also, duty-free has disappeared on most flights because it was so heavy. Yeah. And for what the airlines are able to save in weight, actually, it's offset by the fact that they don't need duty-free, and so it's all right. So, yeah, I don't know. Let the listeners get in touch with us at least, and we can see if anyone has figured out a way to use those NFCs. Yeah. And if so, what were you using them for?
You know, the thing I miss about in-flight in-flight shopping is just seeing what airplane models they have. Like, I know. I always used to love to be like, ooh, fantasize about buying it. Never really buy it, but be like, oh, this one.
I would buy it. If I was a kid, that would be my treat. I would know, especially if it was an airline that... I mean, for example, when Monarch were around, and I told you we used to fly Monarch constantly. We were the highest tier of their frequent flyer program, and that was commuting back to Spain. And on some flights, the magazine would be updated to offer a different aircraft model. So on some it would be a 320 that they're selling, then it would be 321, then it would be 757. No, just based on that month or that season. So the first thing I would do is, sit down, open the magazine, flick, always at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then find the aircraft model.
That's nice.
And then I'd be waiting. Don't fall asleep, Alex. Don't fall asleep. You need to be awake when they're... And then like 9 times out of 10, they'd be like, oh, we don't have... Because, maybe they stock one per flight and somebody's purchased it on the outbound or whatever. But I was able to rack up a lot of... I think people still... we both have a lot of models, I think.
Yeah,
right?
We do. I just don't buy them on planes. I buy them... No. I bought a lot in Shanghai.
I don't remember the last time I bought one.
Yeah.
I think I accumulate because I get given as gifts or as, working or visiting an airline or something. It's kind of common practice to receive a model.
It is a great gift to give AvGeeks. Like, I would never be sad to receive a plane model, although at this point I wouldn't know where to put it. It's the problem.
One time when I was coming back from the Azores, there's 9 islands in the Atlantic.
I know.
The departure, just before departure, the team at the airline presented me with like an 8-foot model. It was huge, and I was like, hand luggage only. Yeah. And so we checked it in.
Yeah.
In a box. And like bubble wrapped it, and I was flying on that only weekly flight that was going direct to Gatwick Shudder. And and it arrived in one piece amazingly.
And where is it now? In the UK?
It's in the UK, yeah.
Wow.
I was never able to put it up because the space of it is crazy. It's one of those that as you walk into an airline headquarters that they have on presentation, it's one of those with the 3 tripod legs. Yeah.
And it stands on the floor.
Stands on the floor and it's like comes up to a decent height and it's huge and it's the A330, which now they don't even have. So actually this is a decent model. I've just remembered that.
Yeah. You should like put it on your balcony or something. I mean, it would get dirty, but it would also look really cool to have it.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So back to NFC and then back to the main topic. You know who should have NFC, which I'm like, why haven't they introduced it yet? Ryanair or like low cost. Yeah.
Amazing.
Why is it in Q Suite and not on Ryanair? So that people can just go crazy ordering things. No barrier. Just order from your seat, pay, and then people are spending more money.
Yeah.
The crew doesn't, they can prepare more food in the galley. They're not passing through.
100%. It makes sense. I mean, it's the UK airlines, specifically the low cost ones, like need to innovate, don't they? If they're going to be able to, when you see what the US is continuing to pump out with the new Southwest cabins that are, and also in recent weeks, Delta and United have come forward to also show that they're renovating. I just feel there is much more of an effort for all that's wrong with US aviation. There's much more of an effort into making sure that they're constantly updating their cabins. In the UK, a cabin is introduced. That same cabin flies for 26 years.
I know. Who knows when Club Suite will be phased out for something new.
Well, there's something big coming at British Airways soon. Yeah.
Oh, new first class.
No. There are big things coming at British Airways soon. That's all I'll say for now. I will have more of the details over the coming weeks.
Okay, this is frustrating.
Yeah, there's like not more than one thing.
Okay.
More than 2 things. More than even 3 things.
Interesting.
Yeah. Stay tuned. I will have it here for you on the podcast.
Okay.
This, if all goes to plan, should be a big year for British Airways.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens. Do you play any instruments?
I play piano.
Should we learn? Why did we learn the same language and the same instrument? Imagine if
you play piano.
Yeah.
What's it like the first time we've met each other?
I know. I didn't know what language you learned, what instrument you played.
I didn't know you play piano properly.
Well, yeah, but I don't really do it nowadays, but I did,
I have a piano
and everything. You have a piano?
In London, yeah.
I don't know. I just can't see you playing piano. Like, okay, maybe, but.
I love it when there's pianos in public places. I go straight to it and start playing.
You do not. In airports? You do.
Yeah, I would.
That is the biggest lie I've ever heard.
Mostly in train stations, if I'm passing through a train station.
You do not play piano.
I do, and I do that thing where I make out that I can't play. So I'm like, da, 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 and then I start playing like Coldplay.
Okay, this is like the biggest plot twist.
I'm surprised you didn't know.
Because you don't like that kind of attention in public.
No, but I like playing piano.
So you're sitting at like Clapham Junction playing.
Well, I don't go to Clapham Junction. So where you were born?
Yeah, that's why. Well, first Fulham and then
explains a lot.
Clapham.
I'm joking. I've got nothing.
2 years.
It's a very trendy area.
1 year in Fulham, 3 years in Clapham Junction, and then moved to East Sussex.
And
that's
then
where it went down.
Sweden.
Yeah, when I was 9. So yeah. Anyway, back to VR.
Before we go to VR,
yeah,
I mentioned Gatwick.
Yeah.
Have you seen the news about ITA?
What about
ITA Airways, the national carrier of Italy, is withdrawing entirely from London Heathrow Airport. Can you imagine?
But they're supposed to be a premium SkyTeam
airline. Carrier, SkyTeam airline, gone from the end of March.
Interesting.
And that's what switching to Heathrow. Switching to Gatwick, of course. Why? They don't have the slots. The slots were in a lease arrangement deal with Etihad back when Alitalia was in bed with Etihad and all the other kind of failed airlines at the time. Air Berlin, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And Nikki, yeah. Who else was it? It was all Etihad Regional who flew to Cambridge.
Yeah, from Switzerland.
On a Saab or
that
something. That is
the most random thing to
When I was studying, it used to come over me and I used to be like, this is crazy.
I wonder if they had the same boarding music, like Nicole Kidman boards.
It was just such a bizarre thing. Anyway, the arrangement, as per the restructuring and then the end of Alitalia and the rise of ITA, means that the lease agreement for the slots, and of course slots are incredibly difficult, as you know, at London Heathrow Airport, it is absolutely next to impossible. If you're an airline and you want to fly to Heathrow, you just can't. It's impossible. The last we know about money exchanged in terms of an airline trying to buy a slot is an example that involved Oman Air, and each slot was around £60 million.
Yeah, I mean, which is about 75 million US.
A little bit more. Yeah. So we know that the slots as part of the arrangement that they have are up at the end of March, and then they're not able to obtain them. And so the latest update, I'm not sure. This is what I was literally reading this 10 minutes before we came on air, and I was trying to figure out now, does this mean that they by default go back to Etihad, or does that mean they go into the pool where Etihad will be looking for a buyer, which of course they won't have to look too hard because there's a big waiting list. We shall see. But the national carrier of Italy to only be flying to London Gatwick is nothing short of a shame. I'm sorry.
I know. Okay.
Someone just asked us in a Q&A about how, they've got 321s now with actual business class cabins flying on a premium route to Heathrow. Well, they're now going to Gatwick. So,
okay. I think if you view it rationally, it's like, first of all, they don't have basically any connectivity in London because they're not part of the transatlantic joint venture. So they're not connecting people to Virgin Atlantic. So that's sort of one reason not to fly to Heathrow.
But they are doing SkyTeam connections.
Yeah, but I mean,
for example, I would see. I know somebody who flew to South Korea with Korean Air via Heathrow
from Rome.
From Rome.
Yeah, but okay, they can send people via Amsterdam or via Paris instead.
Yeah,
which is fine, I'm sure. Pay lower fees,
of course.
And then the other thing I see is that in terms of business travel, there's not that many SkyTeam loyalists in the UK. It's going to be obviously One World, British Airways, then Star Alliance. Yeah. So, it would be a lot of connecting passengers or people just flying between Rome and London. But I really feel like if there was any national carrier that was going to withdraw, it makes more sense for them to do it than for Finnair, which is in joint venture.
I just think the optics of the fact that, in 2024, the national carrier of Italy doesn't fly to London Heathrow Airport, which is Britain's only hub airport, is just a bit weird.
It is. It's
a bit of a shame.
It shows...
Because Gatwick is so leisure, so low cost.
Yeah, but then again...
No matter how many attempts.
Yeah, but Emirates flies A380s, with first class. So I'm always curious,
who's on it?
Yeah, there's a lot of wealth in
there is, and it's not London Gatwick itself doesn't just cater to a low cost demographic. It's just that the low cost carriers have dominated with full force at London Gatwick, which wasn't part of their initial strategy, by the way. I mean, they've always wanted to have premium service airlines. And how do they afford Gatwick? Because shouldn't Gatwick try to go more premium and then just let them do Luton and Stansted? Or it's just I think the costs involved are halved compared to Heathrow. So, I mean, if they were, if they're operating to Heathrow, then they can definitely get to Gatwick. Still difficult to get into. One of the world's busiest airports. Yeah. Busiest single runway airports, at least. Yeah. You know what ITA should do? What if they launched A220 flights to City Airport? They are. Oh, they are? I don't know if it's on an A220. It must be. Yeah. Yeah. They already fly to City from Milan. Okay. From Rome. They will be... So in this announcement, is that they'll be going to both Gatwick and City. So I guess maybe that offsets it a bit. Yeah. City is great to fly into. I mean, it's so much better. When people are like, Heathrow is London's premier airport, it's it's quite impractical in many ways. Yeah. City is just unbelievable. That's what's so confusing about London. You have everything from City Airport, which is when does check-in close for most flights to City Airport? Usually 20 minutes before. That's insane. Yeah. Which other city has that? I know. And then you also have Luton and Stansted that are also London, but they're nightmares to travel. And terribly connected and, just poorly run in many scenarios. Yeah, exactly. Let's go to Q&A. Let's do it. Okay, this question is from Ryan. He says, "Hi Alex, love your podcast." Thank you. It's one that I do with Dan. I'm just sitting here. He's been a great guest for 22 weeks, but I'm glad I have the recognition I deserve for this. Thank you, Ryan. That was Ryan's question. No, I'm joking. He says, "Why is Dan on the podcast?" He says, "This was my podcast of the year in 2023, and I can't wait to get more from you guys in 2024. Seriously? Yeah. Oh. As a proud Kiwi, I'm very attached to Air New Zealand news, and I wonder if you guys had any opinions on the Skynest product they released some years ago and the cabin layouts like this in general. What things do you see airlines like Air New Zealand doing to ensure the safety and comfort of passengers? Thanks a lot and love from SHA.
The Skynest is fascinating because... Okay, funny being in Qatar. Do you remember at ITB Berlin?
Yes.
When Qatar Airways was promising, they were revolutionizing economy class.
Yeah.
And we were going wild thinking of what concepts they were going to have. Are they going to have diagonal seating?
Yeah.
Are they going to have
quads?
Those several layers of seats.
Yeah.
And the way they hyped it up, everyone was going wild thinking, what are they going to do?
But it was just a new seat model, wasn't it?
It was literally, everyone was talking.
That's the seat model that's supposed to be debuting on the 321s that will come in 2026.
Yeah, so that was kind of a Lufthansa Allegris thing of them to do.
Right, it was very, very, I mean, that was, 2018?
Yeah, or it was something many years ago.
Yeah. So, Skynest, though.
Yeah.
This is a revolutionary economy product because these are basically the bunk beds, right?
Yes. True beds in economy class.
Of course, bunks on board an aircraft, nothing new.
Yeah.
But not for passengers, for crew.
Yeah.
So now for the first time ever, it will be for passengers. From my understanding, Air New Zealand were going to be introducing this in a way that you rent them for a period of the flight.
Exactly.
4-hour periods, I think.
Yes, 4-hour periods. I don't remember I feel like we should have read up on this, but this is what
I remember because I was in the prototypes of these at Airbus.
Yeah. I remember the price being quite reasonable. I think it was either $200 or like
something like that.
$200 to $400, something for a 4-hour window for one bed.
And so the idea is that you are an economy class passenger, you book your normal economy class ticket, and as an ancillary revenue extra, so as an additional add-on to your purchase, you purchase 4 hours in one of these bunks so that you're guaranteed 4 hours of what should be decent sleep in a bed.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it has to be like $400 because think about it. If it was $200,
everyone would be doing it.
Yeah, for a 16-hour flight, that's $800. Compare that to the price of business; it's so much more worth it in that case.
We'll check the pricing of it. But
it is
the concept. I love.
It is amazing. I feel like it is interesting to see how economy class passengers will respond to this because did I tell the story on the podcast of Oscar's friends who we were traveling with? They were flying Pegasus. Oh, I didn't tell.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, they were flying Pegasus on a 5 a.m. flight. And I was trying to tell them, please book extra legroom, book the emergency exit.
And they didn't.
It's $15 per person for a 5-hour flight.
It's going to be worth it.
And they're just like, oh, it took me an hour to convince them every reason.
Yeah.
Then we go out to dinner and they're like, beers. Okay, they're $20 each, no problem.
No thought involved.
And I'm just like, a 5-hour flight at 5 a.m., you didn't even want to add stuff. So for me, when people think about flying, for some reason, their brains go to, maybe because they've been Ryanairified or something, they're like, I do not want to spend an extra dime on this.
And yet they're more wasteful in the rest of society on the ground.
Yeah. It is interesting. I think that, for example, if you're sick it's horrible to think these are the people who will be using it, but I was very sick on my flight home from Kenya because we couldn't change it. Like I had been sick the whole time we were in Kenya and I was in economy class and it was a 5-hour flight and I was just suffering.
Oh dear.
I would have paid anything to have a bed like Air New Zealand offers to just lie flat and get some rest,
Well, that's funny because, so I think this concept is great, right? And you can book as an economy class passenger guaranteed rest in these bunks.
Yeah.
I have concerns. 1, claustrophobia. These bunks are claustrophobic for crew. They are used to and trained on these things. I don't know how the average passenger is going to feel getting into these small confined compartments. I guess anyone that has booked it will have thought this through. Not necessarily. 2, hygiene. What is the time between each passenger and how thoroughly are these going to be cleaned mid-flight when the crew are being demanded elsewhere for a full service, in the galley, to clean the bathrooms, and so on and so on. So if you've just slept in there for 4 hours and then someone does a quick spruce in there, that's nice. Not going to be fine with me.
Yeah. And if someone is sick, like I said, because they want a bed.
Even worse, right? Yeah. So the hygiene thing I have a bit of a thing about, and we won't know until it's been implemented as to how they're going to overcome this. For sure, they're going to say in the beginning that they are absolutely, there's 45 minutes between and the crew are going to do a deep clean or something. Yeah. In reality, that's going to last a week. Yeah. Okay, we both know this. So how are they going to protect the hygiene side of things in these bunks? I'm not sure. Third thing, of course, snoring. Yeah. Somebody passing gas.
Yeah, the gas.
The whole thing that comes with, for example, you've slept many nights, haven't you, in those pods in Asia? Those pod hotels.
Not many nights, but I have. I mean, it's
more than 5. Not consecutive. I mean,
I think it's maybe 3 nights only because I hate it. Like 10 out of 10 do not recommend staying in
everyone's alarms goes off.
Yeah, like 3 a.m. someone's alarm goes off. People are coming in and out. It's better than a hostel, which thankfully I haven't stayed at in a long time, but it's still not, wouldn't recommend.
That's the concern I have with this Skynest product. Yeah. Really. But they are ripping up how economy class is done.
Yeah.
But Air New Zealand do that with the
Sky Couch.
Yeah.
You have to give so much credit to Air New Zealand. Yeah. Even though their business class seat is old, not great, they're introducing a new one that also isn't revolutionary. Yeah. When it comes to economy class, they are amazing.
Yeah.
And they were some of the first to let you order snacks and drinks through the entertainment system.
Yeah.
I remember coming across that like in the early 2010s in some YouTube video and being like, what? You can just click all the snacks you want and the crew bring
it to you. That's amazing.
It's
better than in a hotel.
Air New Zealand is awesome. I mean,
I like that they have that focus on economy class passenger comfort, because the majority of people in the world are flying economy, and very often it's not the focus. So, it should be the focus. That's where comfort is required more than anywhere.
And especially if there's anywhere on Earth, it's New Zealand, because it's
far away from
the nearest flight is 3 hours to Australia. So even that is quite a long flight. Then anywhere else, it's kudos to them for that. Air New Zealand are the real economy innovators, I have to say. And New Zealand, okay, sorry,
no, we got absolutely hammered for the accents.
We got so hammered.
Week. Wait, we are not doing
guys,
that.
There was a review that was killing me on some. How did I see it? Somehow we got a review in Australia, I think, on Apple Podcast that said,
"Oh my god!"
I sent it to you.
Yeah,
it was like, great show. I just wish that Alan and Dan would stop doing those terrible Australian accents.
Well, at least he didn't think it was Alex doing the accent.
It
was Alan. That's not me.
Ellen. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
this question is from Andrew. He says, "Have you guys thought about doing?" There's 2 questions here. Have you guys thought about doing a meetup before? He's put Gothenburg, Los Angeles, London, Amsterdam. I go with LA. You?
Yeah, LA.
We'll do it.
LA would be great.
We'll do an LA one.
Yeah.
He also says, have you guys ever status matched your airline status with a different airline? Easy process, lots of hurdles. Have you done it?
Usually easy, yeah. I used to do it all the time back in my desperate days.
I did it once upon a time with Turkish Airlines.
Oh.
I matched Etihad Platinum.
That is so random.
Yeah. I also did it in the summer recently with United.
Oh, so you have Star Alliance status through
So I have Star Alliance Gold through United, yeah.
Did you do a challenge? Because I don't know if they have status. You did a status challenge or what?
It required me to take one United flight within something like 6 months.
Yeah.
So I think I'm in the last month of it. And I'm not flying United anytime soon.
Next month.
Never say never.
Yeah. So
I have United.
I think it's a great thing.
But
Yeah, I would say go for it.
Yeah.
I've done it many times.
Yeah.
There
are a few airlines doing it right now. Virgin Atlantic.
Yes. Sometimes it's a bit restrictive with like where you can live and that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
It's what we've done
of course, like I remember back in the days when I almost only flew economy.
Yeah.
Then I would do like a circle of status match. So I'd be like Star Alliance to Sky Team to OneWorld, OneWorld to Star Alliance when that one's expiring, and just continue like that.
Beyond asks, how often do you guys switch frequent flyer programs, and do you have status in all alliances? Who are you with at the moment, or have you been with?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
So we kind of got your answer.
So I am One World Emerald.
Yeah.
And that's from Qatar Airways Privilege Club Platinum.
Okay.
But that's through earning. That's not through a status match.
Yeah, and you're United.
Oh, and so I use that to match to get Star Alliance Gold.
Yeah.
And then I was also Sky Team through ITA.
Yes, I did that. That was the last one I did.
Yeah, so at one point I was all three.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've still got Sky Team.
The
I haven't
ITA
checked.
one was so useless because in the beginning they hadn't really, no one knew what it was. No. So I remember
website didn't even work.
Yeah, I remember checking in for Delta at LaGuardia. And I was like, hey, here's my loyalty card. I'm like Sky Team Elite Plus with ITA. And they went, what? I went, the Italian national airline, Alitalia.
You're like,
and I'm like, no, they don't exist anymore. It's ITA. She was like, honey, I've never heard of this airline in my life. And they certainly are not partnered with Delta.
He said no accents.
Hey, I can do a New York accent.
That's your accent. What you?
No, this is like my.
That's like me saying I'm going to do a London accent now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, accents make life more fun. I think it's good to do accents. So, okay, so you have United and.
Yeah, and you know what I use the Star Alliance Gold for? Well, apart from when I'm flying Star Alliance, it's nice to be gold. Free upgrades on the Heathrow Express.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Quick flash of the Star Gold card, and you're fine. But of course, I think to answer the question fully, One World Emerald, I think, is the most valuable. The most valuable, and I leverage the benefits completely, especially 100%. With access and baggage and priority and everything. It's a true game changer. Yeah. I don't think it's overrated trying to chase One World Emerald.
Not at all, especially with a good airline, because I've had it with BA. It just expired, so I'm now Sapphire, but I'm trying to get it again.
Yeah,
I feel like with BA, the benefits are like, okay, you get the good alliance benefits, but if you're Emerald with Qatar, for example, you get so much more. You get Al Maha services for free. You get Al Safwa, which you don't get with normal One World Emerald. So there's a lot of more benefits. I'm also Singapore Airlines Gold.
Oh, that's
which
nice.
I did through.
Is that equivalent to Star Gold?
Yeah.
Okay, because you know how sometimes Airline Gold can be equivalent to Star Silver or something. Yeah.
So that was during COVID. They had a campaign where if you transferred a certain number of credit card points, you would get status. So, and the crazy thing is that status has been valid for 4 years from that one transfer. So that's amazing.
So you have Star Alliance Gold.
I do. I don't know when that expires. One World Sapphire right now because my Emerald. Oh no, I have Emerald through American, but that's because I did a status match from Hyatt. It's weird. That expires soon.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to continue it.
So for example, if you leave here flying Qatar, would it have your One World number in the booking?
Yeah. So I can get Emerald, but I mean, it's not like flying.
Doesn't
you don't get first class check-in here, right?
No, you have to be.
So
sorry.
Okay, so then, I have United Silver, which you get when you're Marriott Titanium. You get it for free.
Yeah, I love it when there's a hotel crossover.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I'm now going for Air France KLM status.
Oh.
I want to get, I like Air France KLM. I think besides Finnair, they're my favorite airlines in Europe.
Goodness.
That's my, I would rather fly them than BA. Yeah. And they have quite good benefits when you get higher status. So yeah, maybe I just feel like
a little insight into what's in our
loyalty
point
card
section
wallets.
of our wallet. Yeah. Okay, final question is from Chris. He says, when is the best time to check for a good price on an upgrade? 24 hours before the flight, an hour, or 1 week?
Okay.
I mean, it depends on the airline, doesn't it?
Yeah, it very much does.
I'd say you have to start assessing from a week.
Or I'd say start when you book.
From when you book, of course.
Yeah, because then sometimes there will be offers immediately if you go to manage my booking.
Yeah.
Qatar, I know almost always has some offer, but it changes. So
yeah, the price fluctuates and it doesn't necessarily increase.
No.
Sometimes it steadily increases and then drops before the flight or vice versa. Or sometimes the special offer is identical to what just pricing up a regular upgrade would be. So it does depend on the airline, but be checking throughout would be my advice.
Because I remember with Qatar, there was a flight recently which I didn't end up taking, but it was Delhi to Doha. And when I booked, it was literally like, do you want to upgrade now? It was like $2,000 or something for a 4-hour flight. I was like, no, thank you.
That's a lot.
And then all of a sudden, like 3 days before the flight, I get an email saying the currency conversion from Indian rupees was, do you want to upgrade for $300?
Wow.
That's how much the price went down. So of course I would have done it, but I didn't end up taking the flight. I ended up canceling.
Yeah.
So that was great. For example, Emirates is known to offer good points upgrades last minute, but then you need Emirates points. Lufthansa Group as well. Last minute you can ask at the gate or when you check in.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say a consistent thing, but just check all the time. And just because it's bad at the beginning
doesn't mean that it's going to correct. It can change. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our tip. I mean, we both upgrade now and then. So it's, of course, I just feel like it adds uncertainty, which, you know, is not preferable. It's better to try to find a good deal or use your points. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
British Airways, actually, I just have to say, I know they allow you to book a ticket with Avios that is, I don't know what they call it. It's like pay cash and upgrade. So while you're booking, you pay the cash price of, let's say, premium economy, but
you use the Avios for the difference for the upgrade.
Exactly. And it's confirmed when
I
you
didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. So that's pretty sweet.
Cool. Well, look,
wow.
I'm keeping an eye on the time. I think this wraps up our first ever episode in person.
Yep.
Hopefully we can recreate this in a cool new studio one time.
We will.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Here, there.
Anywhere.
we'll get it sorted. It sorted. But I'm pleased to see you here in Qatar.
It's great to be here.
Let's go out so you can see a bit of the city before the sun goes down.
Do it. It was great to have this moment with you guys as always, and with you, Alex, and we'll talk next week remotely somehow.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we shall see you next week on air.
Bye bye.
See you later.